Hello friends and fellow gamers, MKxJUMP here, and today we're taking a look at this week's event for Idle Heroes. We have a brand new hero added to the game, an Abyss hero who hopefully can do some good damage over time. Granted, she's not transcended yet, but it will give us a good impression of what she may be capable of as a Transcendence hero. More importantly though, along with her release, we have an event that's giving some really good rewards. Once again, we see DH Games giving Grimoire Materials available within the Treasury rewards, and of course, if you exchange your rewards, contract Starry Gems, or gems, this week you can get yourself potentially phenomenal things for upgrading your heroes. Origin materials, destiny stuff, deific artifacts, Grimoire materials. It's all there, even Star Souls for players with Nirvana heroes. For that reason, we're going to be breaking down this event from the different tiers of play, whether you're free to play, a spender, a whale, which approach is going to be best for you as one of those players will be the big discussion point of today. And you may be surprised, even though the rewards are really good, perhaps this week might just be a skip for you. We'll talk more about that in a second. Before we do, let me remind you, if you need help in Idle Heroes, one-to-one, we do account reviews on a Tuesday. You can sign up, send screenshots, and ask questions about your account, and we will give you advice to help you make progress. If that's something you're interested in, you can find a link for our Discord in the comment section down below, which is where signups take place. Join us at Twitch for those one-to-one discussions. That's my live streams. You can find a link for those as well. And if you want to get immediate access to our Discord channel, consider backing me on Patreon, as that's one of the ways up there in the corner that you can go ahead and get access to account reviews on a Tuesday so that you can sign up and take part. If that's all something you're interested in, you can find the links below in the description to get more information. Either way, let's go ahead and jump into this week's event for Idle Heroes. So this week is a heroic summons event, and that means you're getting 3 scrolls and 150 gems every day for logging in. Make sure you claim these, as scrolls and gems are essential to this week's event. Let's start by looking at the cool events. This is where you can exchange any of the 5 heroes you see here for a copy of the new hero. Her name is Ignatia, she's a mage, and she offers damage over time, and thanks to her Inferno Spore ability, she's able to deal additional damage to opponents when they take damage over time. This isn't going to be a very impactful ability for many players at all, especially considering she's not Transcendent. This just isn't that strong, but some people might find good early game uses, and she may find some use in the Idle Heroes 10-star Cup, our 10-star tournament where we ban Transcendence heroes and you can only use base level heroes from the game. If you want more information about that, go check out our live stream section here on YouTube. To get copies of Ignatia within the Palace of Eternity, you need to exchange 10 Eternity Crystals. You can get those from the Palace of Crystal. You get 5 for every 400 summons you do, but if you unlock one of the Palace keys, which you get from value packs here, you can get yourself an additional 15. You can buy that up to 5 times, which is $300 plus 5,000 contract Starry Gems. But more importantly, you'll see that these packages are offering cat cans, which are this week's special currency. We've got treasure coupons, we've got scrolls, and we've got gems. And you can buy up to 270 cat cans just using contract Starry Gems. So that's going to be one key way that people can get additional bonus rewards without having to spend cash. If you have contract Starry Gems, this is potentially really good for you. Also this week, every time you get a copy of Ignatia, you'll get yourself a full set of 4-star armor. So make sure you summon the 5-star shards that you do get to get those armor pieces. And one easy way to get Ignatia copies is from the summon prizes. Go ahead and use your heroic summons and you'll get points, and those points will get you prizes. You can see you have Prophet Orbs and heroic summon scrolls, Seer being offered at 200 points. You even get cat cans here, 18 in total for doing 500, that's a plus 10. There's soul symbols in here, at 400 points there's Ignatia, and at the full 500, you've not just got those cat cans, you've got cores, you've got relics, and you've even got star transferring cubes, which can help for those of you shifting your star souls from one hero to another. And finally, we have the Hero Exchange event, which is allowing you to get copies of Williams and Sylvia for 4,500 Altar Stones each. Potentially good pickups then if you're after these heroes, especially Williams, as some people find him a good and enjoyable damage dealer for their account. All of these rewards come together to get us bonus stuff from the Pawsome Journey, and this is where you can go on adventure and get yourself some sightseeing in various locations. You'll notice you're getting yourself rewards for going sightseeing, and sightseeing costs 12 cans. Here in the Sky Tree, which is the first area, every exploration you do is going to get you 10% exploration progress. Do that to 50% and you'll get yourself catnip, which means you need 60 of the cans to get a selected catnip. You'll notice as this goes on, the proportions change, but actually it's because the exploration progress changes. So regardless whichever way they go ahead and present these prizes, it always results in 60 cans, giving you 10 selected catnip. There are bonus prizes mixed in that start off relatively normal. We've got gems, we've got spirit, we've got gold, and there's even some super wishing coins thrown in here too. At Area 2, there might even be the opportunity for some core stuff, but all of this is relatively small scale. The big stuff you're after is the selected catnip. The catnip can be used here in the Mysterious Sale, standard for any big event, and it will get you opportunities for rewards. We'll break down this in a second, recommending the different reward options you could get on your account, regardless whether you're free to play or a spender. So stay tuned. Heroic summons and contract Starry Gems aren't the only way to get cans this week. Here in the Purst office, you can get yourself a purchase of gems for this particular cat teaser item, and you can buy that up to 45 times, meaning that's going to cost you 27,000 gems. Every time you do this, you get 2 can rewards, which means you're getting 90 cans from here. Now, if you weren't going to go and do any heroic summon scrolls or spend any contract Starry Gems, you just want the minimum number of cans. Well, funnily enough, you can even get more for free if you go right to the bottom here and look at the relay. That is going to get you 8. So that's going to be the first place you're picking up cans this week. So make sure you claim this. That means you need another 52 cans. So what you can do is go into the Purse Rewards and go ahead and get yourself 26 of these items. That's going to cost you 15,600 gems, but it will take you to 60 cans, which is what you need for the first exploration 50% progress here, which gets you selected catnip. That can then be used to get rewards from here, and that didn't cost you any money, any contract Starry Gems, or any heroic summon scrolls. That is just by using 15,000 gems. That is a really good base level way to approach this week's event. With those 10 catnips, you can pick yourself up something really simple. Maybe it's just going to be a melodic strings because you're a new player looking for an artifact. Perhaps you really need stellar shards and you could grab that twice here. Or maybe you're after origin materials to help enhance your heroes, and you could get yourself some sublimation to improve your Transcendence heroes. Even if you don't have Transcendence heroes yet on your account, if your artifacts are already looking okay, it might be worth considering getting sublimation because this is a key resource for upgrading heroes. And even way later into the game, sublimation can still be a problem because you need to fully sub a hero before you can destiny them. So if you're looking to make progress on your account, sublimation is always crucial. Origin chests, some people are tempted by this, but I don't think these are as good, especially for newer players, because you only need Core of Origin when it comes to upgrading a hero to Destiny. More importantly, sublimation is also needed, but benefits your heroes before you consider Destiny, because sublimation improves your abilities and unlocks additional bonus effects for heroes. Therefore, sublimation is much stronger and benefits your team more directly because you can use it to upgrade your Transcendence heroes before even considering Destiny. Once you have sublimation established, a full team of 6 heroes, that's when you want to look at Core of Origin shards, or maybe you've got way too much sublimation because you've been doing really well with these events, and then you might want to pick up Core of Origin to just push Destiny on your main damage dealer. If sublimation is still a bottleneck and your heroes aren't fully upgraded with subs, it's always subs. You can leave cores alone. Of course, 10 catnips isn't the only way to approach this event, so we'll be looking at more ways to do that in the future, but let's carry on with the rest of the stuff that you can get this week. For example, we have the sign-in book here. This is going to get you a treasure coupon every day for logging in, and that's nice. That's just 7 treasure coupons just for playing the game. And if you go to the relay down here at the bottom and get yourself the bonus rewards, which is available here at Fortitude, so that means you have to spend a total of $30, that is also going to get you some nice prizes, because from here you'll get yourself additional treasure coupons and Prism Starry Gems. Always nice to see stuff coming in, rewarding us for our spending. So perhaps that's tempting for you guys looking to boost the treasure train and get some Prism Starry Gems, which could help you either in events, by exchanging them to contract Starry Gems, by buying cheap heroes in the auction house, or it could go towards your fund for buying an A tier one day. Both are useful. Now, for people that really want to spend, we also have our bonus rewards here from the Plentiful Privilege. This is getting you additional bonuses depending on how deep you go in the relay, and if you go as far as $130 into the relay here at Energy, you will get yourself Plentiful Privilege 3. Now, the Plentiful Privilege is a nice way to get rewards that will help you to upgrade your heroes through all stages of the game. Starting off, we have our Grimoire Materials, which will help you get Contract Starry Gems and Stellar Shards, which are crucial to upgrading the base power of your heroes, especially when it comes to transcending them and upgrading them through the Tree of Origin. But to do that, you'll also potentially need Sublimation to improve their abilities, perhaps even Spiritual Essence to get yourself access to the Tree of Origin, and then Core of Origin if that's something you're looking for to make your hero's destiny. And then beyond that, the resources to make a hero destiny are also being offered here too, with Scattered Spiritbane Shards and Aurora Gem Shards. And for some reason, we also have Monster Cultivation Materials, which are potentially helpful for those of you looking to upgrade your monsters. I personally am a bit 50-50 about this, but still being able to get Destiny materials here is nice, and that's what's available at the $130 point. You'll also see that there are copies of Ignatia being thrown in here too, which could help you for either Awakening Ignatia copies in a future event when she's transcended, or you could just go and summon them and get yourself some additional 4-star armor. Either way, it's good to get copies of her now, because you will need them in the future for Awakens or to build her when she becomes transcended. And finally, this week, DH Games have added a new Treasure Train series to the Treasure Train. Now, on one hand, that's a bit annoying because it does slow down the rate with which we see Treasure Train series is added to the up bonus in the Treasure Train. If you didn't know, the Treasure Train cycles bonuses to our pull rates of certain treasure series. This will be added to that as it is a base series. It's called the Strange Monster series, and within that, there are going to be different items that you can pick up to benefit your heroes. Sadly, though, each rotation does take up 2 weeks in the slot, so it's going to add just another 2 weeks for the full rotation to go through. So if you were really waiting for Retro Gaming or Alien Desert, maybe even Hero Token, it's going to now take longer for those things to cycle through once they've come next. One thing about the Strange Monster items is, as a Treasure Train series, it's not that great, as it is offering bonuses specifically for PvP. You can see Interdimensional Arena, Trial of the Champions, Free Team Up Arena, and that's potentially something that's going to push people's interest away and make them not care too much about this series as a whole. That said, though, PvP is becoming increasingly more important, as it is one easy way to get yourself free awakens, such as through Trial of the Champion, which offers those free awakening hearts that you can then use to awaken heroes, getting you progress in soul awakening sessions, and also you can destroy those hero copies to get Contract Starry Gems, which can help you in future events. So that feeds into getting you more progress on your account as a whole. Now, having additional speed could be useful for breaking speed ties, the dodge offset might be useful, there's all damage dealt here, there's control immunity, there's reducing damage over time received. That's cute. I'd rather see this for campaign, but you know what? It's fun that it's here nonetheless. And there's a lot of different abilities being offered here. In general, this is not something you want to chase aggressively, but having it is definitely nice, and we know whales and big heavy spenders that love competing in PvP will definitely be excited by this. In my personal opinion, I don't think you have to pick this up. It's not the immediate bonus that you want to be hunting for your account, and it's not going to make too much of a difference in PvP, but for big spenders, it will be somewhat of a difference that you'll definitely feel on your accounts. And when it comes to whales, they're looking for every tiny advantage they can get in PvP, so I can see them hunting this. I guess it's good then that if you choose to go ahead and use your treasure coupons this week, you actually are getting a lot of the rewards for the Strange Monster area for considerably less than normal. If you didn't know, the monthly rotation in the treasure train requires you to do 150 opens to get a pink chest. Here, it's only 100, and the other rewards scale down as well. So potentially you're getting more access to treasure train items for your use of treasure train tickets. So it's likely that big spenders who want to push their progress in PvP will be hunting this particular series. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's a nice opportunity to boost your train nonetheless. So if you want to go and collect that, click the button here and join with the special search to get yourself potentially some nice rewards for your treasure train. Another way to get the treasure train items is through this warped carnival, which is going to give you chests that contain the items for spending, and that just scales up with the VIP spending you choose to do this week. I would argue this is not a motivator for spending, but rather just an additional bonus, and I wouldn't go trying to achieve this. I wouldn't be hunting those extra milestones. I think $300 this week is a crazy amount of money to spend, but I can see why some people would just spend anyway and enjoy their additional bonus rewards, which will get tacked in with that spending, which potentially could push you towards wanting to part with some cash. And they've also added these feast package chests to potentially tempt you to spend, but realistically, they seem a little out of touch. $20 for potentially some train tickets and Glory Epic Hero chest? Nah, that's pretty rubbish value. $50 for another chest? Again, the odds are just that you get some treasure coupons and maybe some scrolls. Horrendously bad value. And the $100 pack offering 20 cores. Guys, big spenders don't need Cores of Transcendence. 200 Glorious Relics is cute, but not amazing. And honestly, a 5% chance for 100? I wouldn't even say that's worth spending $100 on for treasure train tickets. So my friends, ignore these. These are a trap. You definitely do not want to purchase these, as the value is horrendous. And last but not least, of course, we have the Relay, which is offering you opportunities to pick up cat cans. And of course, as we said earlier, you can push this to get yourself access to the Plentiful Privilege, going all the way up to Energy, which is $130 in total for Plentiful Privilege 3. So, what amount of spending do we want to do to get cat cans to get us rewards? Let's go ahead and talk about that now. So as we said earlier, getting the 10 catnips is a simple way, just with gems, to get yourself some rewards this week. But what if you want to push? What if you want to spend scrolls? Well, if you spend 800 heroic summon scrolls, you can get yourself to 120 cat cans. That's by doing all 90 in this search here, and getting yourself additional bonuses from those 800 heroic summon scrolls with the free stuff from the relay. 20 catnips potentially can get you some nice stuff. You could get 2 mysterious artifacts. You could even get yourself origin materials, some stellar shards, and some origin materials again. Or maybe you're just really hungry for stellar shards, and you could pick them up, get some origin materials here, and then go for stellar shards one more time. Either way you do that, it's 20 catnips, and you're getting some nice rewards just for using 800 scrolls and 27,000 gems. Potentially an option for those of you that don't have many contract story gems. If you do have contract story gems, I believe that your best possible option is to spend 3,750 of them. To do that, you'll want to go to the value packages and buy this top package here, getting you 90 cat cans. Then buy the next package down for 45 cat cans. That takes you to 135. Add the additional 90 that you're getting from spending gems in this post office location, and then spend 2,000 heroic summon scrolls to get yourself the additional cans you'll need from the summon prizes, and that will take you to just over 300 cat cans. The beauty of 300 cat cans is that's 50 of the catnips, and that means you can get some really good combinations of rewards. So let's start with a discounted version to pick some rewards up. Let's start with Stellars. We'll go with Stellars again, and then we'll look for origin materials. Once you get to floor 4, you've got the option of going for origin artifacts, transition materials, or void materials. This could be quite a tricky decision because void materials are discounted, but transition materials let you get destiny heroes, and origin artifacts allow you to improve the artifacts on your account, making them extremely strong and giving you potential access to things like Breath of Forest Spirit, Lingering Melody of the Universe, and Dragon Ruby Scepter. Well, if you do go ahead and choose to get origin artifacts to potentially improve your Antlers Cane to a Breath of Forest Spirit, you'll have used 35 of the catnips, which means when you come down to floor 6, you can get some transition materials if you want, but then suddenly you've spent 45, which means you could get origin materials, but actually because you've made it to floor 6, you'll unlock a shop which will let you exchange 5 catnips for 1,000 contract story gems, and that is way superior value. So in my opinion, I would stop at 45 at floor 6 and exchange for those 1,000 because they will help you in a future event. That is the best option to do as a free-to-play player who has access to contract story gems, and that's quite good. But, maybe you don't actually need destiny materials. You could then go with origin materials instead, and that's really good for early players because you're establishing your deific artifacts, you're getting your origin materials here, you're also picking up origin materials at floor 3, so you're getting 3 lots of origin materials, 2 deific artifacts. That is absolutely fantastic. When it comes to new or early players who do have 3,750 contract story gems to spend on this event, let's talk about whether you should go for deific artifacts or destiny real quick. The immediate stuff you need to know is the best artifacts for you to pick up. There are 3 key artifacts you're looking for to deify. The first is Lingering Melody of the Universe. This is a really good burst damage item, and you only need it at glittery. That means you need 2 pistols to upgrade this. Using a glittery melodic strings with those 2 pistols, that'll get you a glittery Lingering Melody of the Universe. The other item you want to consider is a glittery Breath of Forest Spirit. This is the upgraded version of Antler's Cane, giving a whopping 300% skill damage. This is really good in long fights and with heroes like Williams and Vulcan who love skill damage. This is another great artifact to pick up, and again requires 2 of those Origin pistols. And finally, you want to get yourself a Splendid Dragon Rui Scepter. Because it's splendid, this can give energy to a hero with a 50% chance of doing so, and that means it can trigger passives on heroes like Wukong and Betty to help them crowd control. And that requires 4 exotic grimoires. That means for earlier players, it's important that you do a big event like this 4 times, which means you're going to need 4 Origin pistols and 4 exotic grimoires in total to get all of those items established. Once you've done that, I would shift my attention across to transition materials because upgrading heroes to Destiny is also extremely important. Then, what you can do is still pick up Origin materials if you need them, or if you don't need them, you can pick up even more transition materials for your account. So just be aware, it's important to get all these things onto the account because transition materials and Origin materials and Deific artifacts are going to be key for upgrading the perfect team to make progress throughout the game. But there is an elephant in the room, and that is Grimoire Materials here. If you improve Grimoire Essence, you can potentially give massive bonuses to the attack and HP of your team. But to get there, you need way more catnip, or you're going to have to go with the discounted items. So let's say we want to get to the Grimoire Materials. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go down the middle and pick up the Void Materials, which are the weakest rewards here in Floor 4 and Floor 5. I'm then going to have to pick up Origin Materials from here just to get to a point where I can have the Grimoire stuff. I am only spending 40 here, so I could potentially pick up more Origin Materials if I wanted, and that's still giving me access to 3 Origin Materials, which is nice, but I'm wasting the opportunity of getting 2 lots of Destiny and instead getting Grimoire Materials. Arguably, picking up Grimoire Materials is good as an initial grab for your account. However, I do not believe that constantly picking up Grimoire Materials as a newer free-to-play player is a good idea, because the benefits being offered by the Grimoire are proportional to your liberation percentage total. Now, with an account like my main account that has a 70% liberation percentage, then heck yeah, I want to be getting Grimoire Materials, because each upgrade is giving a massive amount of attack. You can see at 74 levels, I'm getting 12,600,000 fixed attack. That's because I have a really established account, where my best 6 heroes, 5 of them are Nirvana, and I'm soon going to get my temple to a point where my best 6 are all Nirvana, and that is going to give me massive benefits from the Grimoire. However, if your best 6 heroes are at best E5, or maybe with a little bit of Tree of Origin in there, but you've got a few other E5s, picking up Grimoire Materials is going to give you nowhere as much attack. And actually, you're better served upgrading your heroes to a point where they are going to give you good liberation percentage. For that, you're going to need established Tree of Origin bonuses, getting up to Tree of Origin 5, ideally going to Destiny as well, and perhaps even beyond that, putting Star Souls on those heroes, and that requires you to get to Nirvana, which means you need multiple Destiny heroes. For all of that to be available for a free-to-play player, you are going to have to probably forego picking up Grimoire Materials from Floor 7, and instead prioritize getting yourself transition materials and Origin Materials, because they will be crucial for getting to that point in the game where your liberation percentage is high. And only then would I begin to focus on your Grimoire Materials. So pick up Grimoire Materials once or twice, that's completely fine to get an established Grimoire, but don't endlessly chase into this, because that's going to come at the cost of really important resources like Destiny materials, which are more important for your account than the Grimoire Materials could be, because you need to upgrade that liberation percentage, and without Destiny materials, that's just not going to happen. So my advice to you guys is actually, if you do have access to 3,750 contract Starry Gems, and you have 2,000 Heroic Summon Scrolls on your account, do not go for Grimoire Materials if you've previously got them from an event. take the bonuses you already have and now start hunting Origin artifacts if you don't already have Lingering Melody of the Universe, Breath of Forest Spirit, and Dragonry Scepter. And if you do, it's time to hunt Destiny materials so that your team can become Destiny. It's a slow grind, but it's absolutely worth it in the long run. It should take you 4 big events like this to get your Origin artifacts established, and then after that, it's Destiny all day long. That means the game plan for free-to-play players is to always approach events like this with 3,750 contract Starry Gems. That is the best use of your contract Starry Gems. And for that reason, you could even argue that skipping this event is the better of all your options. Why? Because this is just a repeat of previous big events we've seen in the past, and there will of course be more in the future. These events come more often than you have the chance to get to 3,750 contract Starry Gems, which means you want to hunt the best possible events for those 3,750. My friends, if you go to the event, you might remember you're not actually getting much for engaging with this. If this was a festival event, such as Mid-Autumn, or perhaps Halloween, Christmas, Black Friday, those big festival events offer festival treasure train items, which give you good bonuses. This does not offer any treasure train items for engaging with the base part of the event. You might even remember we've had events in the past where spending gems in this will get you a pink treasure train item as a top reward. It might seem like a small thing, but when we only have a certain number of events that we can go in a year with our 3,750 contract Starry Gems, you'll begin to realize that's only maybe one big event that you're capable of doing as a free-to-play player every 3 months or so. For that reason, you've got to pick and choose these events wisely. And therefore, I don't actually think this is the most optimal event that a free-to-play player can go for, because there is no treasure train rewards being given in the base part of the event. And the treasure train stuff that is here this week is only for people that want to go big with treasure train items, and it's going to be minor bonuses to PvP content. And you're not even getting them for the base part of the event. For that reason, if this is the only 3,750 contract Starry Gems you have, and you're likely not going to be able to do another big event like this for quite some time, skip this, because there's no train stuff added, and a better event will happen in the future where your 2,000 scrolls and 3,750 Starry Gems are better served. So, skip this if that's you. Now, theoretically, you could go into this event and spend 7,500 contract Starry Gems and 1,500 scrolls to get a total of 70 catnip. If you follow all the discount bonuses, that's a heck of a lot of rewards you could pick up. There's Origin Materials here, Void Materials coming through, and there's more Origin Materials getting chucked in there. And as long as you just keep following all the discount stuff, there's an opportunity to get heaps and heaps and heaps of Origin rewards. And if you go all the way to the bottom, you can even get more transition materials. And then you'll also access the bonus shop at the end, which is even more transition materials for doing this. Also, with only 65 spent, you will have 5 left over to get your additional 1,000 contract Starry Gems back. That is potentially a really good idea for people that are exclusively hunting Origin Materials and Destiny Materials, because those resources are really important for you making progress in the game. However, you'll see by doing that, you're only actually getting 4 Destiny Materials. You get 3 for floor 10, 11, and 12, and then your bonus 1 at the end. That means it's technically more efficient from a Destiny standpoint to do this event at that initial point I recommended, going up and only spending 3,750. Not only is that getting you 1,000 contract Starry Gems back, which means if you did 2 of this event, you'd have 2,000 contract Starry Gems back, rather than the 1,000 you'd only get back for doing the same amount of contract Starry Gems but putting them all into one big event. The key point is you're actually getting more Destiny stuff by splitting across 2 events as well, because you can go Origin Materials here, then you go Destiny Materials at floor 4, Destiny Materials at floor 5, and then Destiny Materials again at floor 6. That's the same amount of stuff, but you're getting 3 Destiny Materials, which means you're getting 6 rather than 4 if you do it across 2 events. And you might argue, but I'm getting nowhere near as many Origin Materials. In that case, turn this last transition material into Origin Materials, and it's basically the same amount of rewards because now you're getting 3 Origin Materials, which would be 6 Origin Materials split across all those events. However, you're getting 2 lots of the 1,000 back, which actually makes it better in my opinion. However, of course, you do need to have the base resources, whether it's wishing coins, heroic summon scrolls, or prophet orbs, depending on the event, to do this. So it can be potentially expensive on in-game resources, but from a contract story gem point, I think this is extremely efficient. And therefore, I think it beats the opportunity of just spending 7,500 contract story gems. Then again, there's another reward here, which I think is really important to talk about, and that's going to be Star Souls. If you want to follow the discounts through, you can actually pick up Star Souls for your account if that's the only thing you're hunting. So if I go all the way up to floor 6 here, you can see I can get some Star Soul materials. So Spectre here, Inquiring Mind, is definitely a really good grab. It's definitely the best first Star Soul to upgrade. And then I'll follow the discounts through again. Let's just go here, here, get our Destiny materials at 10 and 11. And then at 12, I can get more Star Souls. You'll see that's going to be 70 catnip, which is nice. Sadly, I don't get my 1,000 contract story gems back, but then I can also go into this bonus area here and get more Star Souls for myself. And that's 3 Star Soul items completely for free because I can use 7,500 contract story gems and then 1,500 heroic summon scrolls and walk away with 70 catnip. And that means I'm getting 3 Star Souls without spending any cash. That's potentially nice. However, if your account is at a point where you can get Star Souls, you really want to be getting Grimoire materials as well. And for that reason, I would consider purchasing in the relay. Just by getting the first couple of packages here and going up to $15, you can get yourself an additional 40 catnips here. That $15 and a few more scrolls on top of that should be enough to put you in a position where you can get to 80 of the catnips and pick up the Grimoire materials along with all those Star Souls as well. So assuming you're not upset about the fact you can't get deific artifacts, this is a really, really good option for players that don't want to spend too much money. It's only $15. You can, of course, spend deeper if you wish, but realistically, after that point for spenders, the next best place to go for when it comes to value is to do the full relay and spend 130, because that's going to give you full access to the plentiful gifts, giving you Destiny, Origin rewards, and it's going to give you multiple opportunities to pick up Grimoire bonuses, because you'll also be able to push into the next stage, the regular round, and pick up Grimoire materials from the first stage here as well, which is more and more Grimoire materials for your account. And yeah, you can get to 110 catnips if you do choose to do the full relay. The other option, by doing the full relay, is to not actually spend as much in contract story gems. So you could save yourself there if you don't have too many. So find out the right balance for you, depending on how much catnip you want and what particular rewards you're looking for. But the relay can definitely help you do that. I wouldn't go spending more than $130 here this week. The rewards begin to peter off. I don't think you're getting as good rewards for your spending. However, there may be temptations for some players, and they may just want to go and hunt as much as they possibly can, and whales are always going to whale. So it's difficult to tell those players what and what not to do. Especially if you look at these packs, it's giving a ton of catnip stuff, it's giving tons of treasure trade stuff, it's giving loads of Prism Story gems, and on top of that, there are these VIP rewards, which are going to boost their treasure train as well. But my recommendation would not be to get yourself spiraled into that level of spending, because I always think you're best splitting your money across multiple events rather than throwing it all on one. So there are all your options for this week to get some really, really good rewards. Hopefully you take my advice when it comes to getting deifics early as a free-to-play or budget player and then finally focusing Destiny. I don't think Grimoire is super important for early accounts, but later and established people with multiple Destiny heroes and access to Star Souls, they will definitely want Grimoire materials, because if you take a look at my Grimoire, for example, and I have an account similar to those ones, I'm getting millions and millions and millions all from upgrading this. So any additional bonuses I can get is of course way better for me than it would be for an early game player. I think early game players definitely just want to be hunting Destiny stuff and deific artifacts, and that may be contrary to popular opinion, but I think it's much more important to establish your team before you go Grimoire hunting. And I know a lot of experienced and advanced players would agree with me when it comes to that opinion. And just for those later and advanced players, there is one additional thing that's been added this week. If you go ahead and take a look at your Star Souls, you'll see we now have a new Star Soul item. which is called the Butterfly of Cosmic Rhythm. This is pretty cool. I like this. One of the key noteworthy items it has is the variation of meteors, which means when you take a attribute reduction effect or a damage over time or a control effect, you can transfer that effect to the person who inflicted it on you, similar to how Sherlock reflects crowd controls. But here you're reflecting attribute reductions or damage over time, which potentially is making you fundamentally immune to those effects. So you're turning the hero that wears this into a pseudo Sherlock. Really cool power. However, it doesn't come online until you've done 4 rounds of attacking, so it's a little bit slow, but as far as effects comes, this is pretty good and could have some really funny uses in the Star Expedition to provide some control or protection effects for your heroes. What I like about this is it isn't an immediate must grab. Spectre still wins that one, but I think as far as it comes to a creative tool and asset available to players, I'm excited to see what people will come up with this. This is something that will encourage creativity and maybe a tool to beat things that we otherwise couldn't beat. So let me know, late game players, if you come up with any creative uses for this, but considering it's going to take quite a while to build and establish, I'm expecting many people won't have this on their accounts just yet. However, it is a cool item, and getting it upgraded is definitely going to be something I'd love to see for a lot of players. So yeah, if any players come up with something good with this, let me know. I think it's definitely going to be a good toolbox in our arsenal of utility to allow us to do some fun stuff and beat some annoying opponents. And that's it for this week. That's mostly what's been added. We've already looked at a lot of things like the treasure train, the new hero in brief, and that new item there. And overall, this is just a standard, normal event which is offering fantastic bonuses. But these events are becoming so common now, like I said, you kind of have to pick and choose which ones you go for. And because there's no treasure train items being offered here in the base part of the event, I actually think it's not worth it for free-to-play players who are looking to maximize their rewards and their contract Starry Gem usage. If you only have a limited number of contract Starry Gems, this, in my opinion, is probably not the event for you. Next week is going to be a Sky Labyrinth event. We've got our Mysterious Chests, and we've got Wishing Fountain offering Ignis as a reward. So hit that subscribe button if you want to catch the breakdown of next week's event, and we'll take a look if this is an event that you need to hunt, or perhaps one to skip. Because as always, Wishing Fountain events are either really, really good and definitely worth doing, or they're worth skipping and waiting for the big Wishing Fountain events, because you don't want to waste your wishing coins. So of course, folks, hit that subscribe button. We'll break down that event next week. And as always, have an amazing week. Look after yourselves, and happy idling.